Yo people, what's happening? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host. Yeah, and I do hope you're doing well, mate. Really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea news / I guess we could preview the Flamengo game. It's going to be super tough. They're a good side. And my word, mate, it's going to be friggin' hot. Sweltering. I read somewhere 38 degrees Celsius. That is mental. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's going to be hot. Hot. We'll talk about that a little bit. I also want to reference, yesterday, Jacob Steinberg gave a little transfer update speaking about Gittins, Kudus, and Joao Pedro as well. Romano's talking about Joao Pedro now. He's not going away, the links, so we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it, and we will, boy howdy. Of course, I reacted late last night, late-ish, late in the day, to Matt Law's of the Telegraph's update with Mudryk being charged. So, we know Jadon Sancho's gone. We know Mudryk can't be considered a winger. Chelsea have two proper senior wingers in Neto and Noni. And Noni Madueke is still apparently like kind of shop window. So we just don't... For us, Enzo Maresca is renowned for heavily relying on wingers. Let's just not have any wingers. This is mental, innit? We're going to get into it, hopefully learn a little bit. Maybe we buy two wingers. Guys, thanks for joining me. As always, very appreciative of the support I get here on the channel. It's a beautiful thing. If you want to offer your support, drop a like. That's great. Thank you for that. Hey, have you done it? Have you liked the video? And then, yeah, man, if you want to subscribe, certainly you are welcome to here. Join the community. And if you choose to subscribe, you should hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Didn't get the run. Sweet, sweet bell, baby. Oh. Anyway, shall we start off? Yeah, let's start off with the transfer news. And like I said, this is coming from Jacob Steinberg of The Guardian. He says this. Chelsea are prioritising the move, of course, for Borussia Dortmund winger Jamie Gittins, but have also held further talks with West Ham over Mohamed Kudus, of course a player that we did try and sign before he went to West Ham, and contacted Brighton about Joao Pedro as they considered buying a versatile forwards. Well, makes sense. We've got two conventional lines now in Nico and Delap, although there are stories linking, Nicholas Jackson to Aston Villa, where we would see himself reunited with his former manager that he had at Villarreal in Unai Emery. I've sort of made my position pretty strong on that. I don't want to sell Jackson, let alone to a rival. And actually, the majority of you seem to agree with me in the comment section. But if you want to learn a little bit more about that, go a couple of videos ago and check that out. Enzo Maresca is determined. He is determined to sign a right-footed left winger. And there is an expectation that Gittins will end up at Chelsea this summer. Dortmund rejected a £42 million bid, which seems like a lot. For Gittins, for a player who, let's be, potential, exciting, but there's hardly a bidding war for him. Like, there's not loads of clubs going for him. He simply doesn't fit the manager's system, and the manager doesn't fancy him. And 42 million quid's a lot of money. I'm sure they're making a huge profit there. Maybe that was the CFC... CFC? What is CFC? CWC, Club World Cup tax, as they was being briefed, the phrase. But maybe we get him for that. Or it's a different structured deal. For the 20-year-old this month, but Chelsea have agreed personal terms with him, of course, 7-year deal, and are likely to return with an improved offer. I hope we don't go silly money on this, mate. Chelsea have also identified Lyon's Malik Fofana as a potential alternative to Gittins, who's valued by Gittins is valued at 50 million by Dortmund. I would not be surprised if we signed two attackers, Gittins plus one. So it could be a Gittins, maybe, and Malik Fofana, maybe. But then we've got four wingers for two positions in loads of competitions, and that's really putting a lot on Tyreek George, saying you're a guy, you're one of the top four winger choices, and we're in the Champions League, mate. Can you do it? Step up, lad, and hope, that'll be just a great opportunity for him, for young Tyreek George. But, yeah, and even if we could sign like a Joao Pedro, he can play out wide, but he really is an auxiliary forward. But hopefully not in the Kai Havertz and Christopher Nkunku way, and dare I say, Timo Werner way, because he's a left-winger striker, but more in the I can play well in the Premier League way, guaranteed. Maresca wants a winger who can cut in from the left after Chelsea decided not to buy Jadon Sancho from Man United. Yeah, of course, this is, like I said, he's heavily reliant on, or his system is heavily reliant on 1v1 wingers. That, there's a game plan, there's tactics that set you up where you get isolated 1v1s and you want the winger to do something, basically. So he needs these, as X Value calls them, the 1v1 explorers. So, of course, we're not buying Jadon Sancho from Man United. The head coach's options on the flanks are limited currently only to Pedro Neto, Noni Madueke, who both are left-footed, of course, and the inexperienced Tariq George. Yeah, I didn't even consider how those two, well, I knew those two are left-footed, but how much that screws us up, really. Madueke likes to play on the right, but started playing on the left when Chelsea opened the Club World Cup campaign, and of course we beat LAFC 2-0. He's also done that for England. Chelsea will listen to suitable offers for the England international, not least because another left-footed winger, of course, Esteval William, the 18-year-old Brazilian sensation, joins us next season. That is interesting because... Should we talk about this a little bit now? Like, because Esteval, is apparently the truth. We want to use him, yeah. We want to essentially not just. I mean, because you could in theory have Neto as your starting right winger, starting the beginning of next season, and I'm not sure Chelsea fans would be sad about that. Especially with the goal he scored the other day, and he's had a good end to the season, Neto, and he's widely regarded as a quality player. And then Esteval deputising behind Neto, and of course can hang out with him, speak Portuguese as well, like integrate. And then the left-hand side, you could have a Gittins and a Tariq George. I mean, maybe that's enough. And then you got like a Joao Pedro or a Kudus or something, this auxiliary forward to... I mean, I know many of you might even be shouting in the comments, and you can play Nico Jackson as a left winger. True, although I don't think his style of left winger play is what Maresca wants. And actually, there's seen a lot of stuff circulating on social media talking about Nico Jackson playing centrally, but a little deeper to great effect. Will we see that? Him operate in those areas. Noni Madueke for sale. Kind of sad to hear that because, of course, he's been our most productive winger over the last 2 seasons, and he's 23, is he? Like, he's young, bro, like Noni Madueke, and he's an England international. He's been starting for England in competitive games lately. Which you think about it that way, he's selling an England international who's yet to hit his prime. Yeah, let me know what you think, because understandably, you guys got really... You reacted in the same way I did with the links of Nico Jackson going, but I wonder how many people would feel the same about Noni Madueke. What if Chelsea could double their money they spent on Noni, so they sent him for 58 million quid to Newcastle? Would you do it? Theoretical. Comment down below there, because that would leave us with 4 wingers still, even selling Noni. And buying Gittins. Right, there is also a desire to bring a versatile forward in so Maresca can rotate during the season with the added demands of the Champions League. Yeah, kind of like a plug and play dude in different positions. The arrival of Liam Delap, who will compete with Nico Jackson, means Chelsea do not need another conventional number 9. They could benefit from lifting the creative burden on Cole Palmer, given that Joao Felix and Christopher Nkunku, of course, are almost certainly going to leave. Chelsea failed with initial approaches for Kudus, who is a target for Man United, Newcastle, and one other unnamed Premier League club. Widget. Talks took place with West Ham, who are looking to raise funds by selling Kudus after Chelsea were offered the opportunity to sign the Ghana international. I'll talk about this in just a second, a little bit further. Discussions have continued, but there's not yet been a formal bid from Chelsea. Apparently, we want to propose including swap players, but West Ham want a straight sale and was similarly uninterested when United suggested a swap. Even though we know West Ham want Chelsea players. I think, because Graham Potter manages West Ham. He managed Chelsea. So I think he wants his baby boy back, Rob Sanchez. You can have him, mate. But it talks about he wants like Dewsbury Hall, which would probably be a good move for everyone involved, actually. Dewsbury Hall, Chelsea, and West Ham. So I don't know why they are not considering that. Kudus' contract contains an £85 million release clause. You can do one, mate. Valid for Premier League sides for the first 10 days of July. The 24-year-old who can play on both flanks and through the middle. Impressed after joining a West Ham in 2023, but he struggled last season and wants to move. Yeah, so just before we move on from Kudus, he is a good player. Really good player. And his last couple of seasons have not done him any justice at West Ham. People who, like, rely on the eye test a little bit more can look at Kudus and go, yeah, baller. He needs to be at a place where he can express said talent. 85 million quid, though. Absolutely not a chance in hell for me. But as a player, generally I like him. Chelsea have reached out to Brighton about Joao Pedro, who could be available for £60 million. Nothing is imminent though, and Newcastle's interest in the Brazilian forward also is more advanced. Chelsea have looked at at RB Leipzig's Xavi Simons and Hugo Ekitike, but have been put off by the latter of Frankfurt's £84 million valuations of Ekitike. Yeah, I don't want us spending £85 million on anyone, guys. Let me just nail my colours to that mast. There's no one I want Chelsea to spend £84 million on at the moment. Is that entirely true? Let me just think. I mean, unless someone's incredible would just lower their wages. I'd say Lamine Yamal, but we've got Esteval. It's literally like similar players. Yeah, pick a superstar. Ousmane Dembele or something. Even him, like, do we need him? Let's not spend silly money here, shall we? Quickly on Joao Pedro. Yeah, I quite like him. I've been saying that for years. I'm not going to change my mind. Now we're being linked to him. I like him as a player, and if it's not a lot of money, yeah, he could be that, option, that third striker option, that fifth winger option, and if he's playing well, he can bench anyone out of the wingers and the striker. He's that kind of quality. If he's doing well, if he's integrating, if he's getting the numbers, yeah, you can bench left winger, right winger, forward, whatever, in behind. I'll be happy again, just provided the money is not silly, And I'm sort of losing my Brighton and Hove Albion trauma after our two best players this season have come from Brighton, so I'm kind of like forgiving them. Mamadou Sarr aims to become the best centre-back in the world after joining Chelsea from Strasbourg for £11.9 million. I wonder how that negotiation went. The 19-year-old defender is not short of self-belief after a breakthrough year in Ligue 1. Sarr said he has tried to model his game on Virgil van Dijk. He also said didn't he say he's most like Konate, though? Rosinia placed faith in Sarr last season, handing him 27 league appearances, and believes the former Lyon defender can reach the top. We can go into that, but I'll stop the article there. Essentially, there's some speculation that Mamadou Sarr, for the £11 million man, might surprise a few people. And a lot of people think he's going to be in the Chelsea first team next season, possibly partnering Levi Colwill, So, your Tosins of this world, maybe Trevor Chalobah sold again. That story will keep rotating. And of course, as much as I love Wesley Fofana, my guy is just not available. So yeah, there is high hopes for Mamadou Sarr, to the point where maybe this whole transfer summer, everyone's like, yeah, Chelsea will buy a centre back. They'll buy a centre back. Tosin's reliable. Levi's really risen in profile. I think we're okay. And we might keep Trev, we might not. Yeah. All right, big talking points from this video. Chelsea is still going to get Gittins over the line, almost certainly. I would put the farm on it personally. Plus an additional auxiliary forward, whether that's Kudus or whether that's Joao Pedro. It does sound like Malik Fofana is an alternative to Gittins. So it will still be two attackers purchased, but it will be a conventional left-sided, right-footed winger, and this additional sort of auxiliary forward that could be represented in Joao Pedro or Mohamed Kudus. The Noni Madueke could be for sale isn't going away, and I actually think that's more realistic than Jackson, because there's certain briefings to news publications like The Athletic is Chelsea really are high on Jackson. It's just if someone waved a silly amount of money in front of them, they'd consider it. Whereas Noni, maybe if someone can, just basically gave them a big profit from their purchase, they'd consider it. And this article is suggesting here from Steinberg that that's sort of largely down to the introduction of yet another right-sided, left-footed winger in Esteval Willian joining Noni and Neto. So it could be senior winger Neto, and he's only like 25, and then 18-year-old Esteval as a deputy. And then you can have first choice, 20-year-old Gittins on the left, and then 19-year-old Tyreek George behind him. And then whether it's a Kudus or a Joao Pedro that can slot in between. Sounds good on paper, right? And yes, I'm with you. I'm hoping we do something in the goalkeeper department, but we will see. Guys, let me know your thoughts. Please leave them down in the comment section below. Very thankful for you hanging out here and watching my content today. If you've enjoyed it, drop a like, subscribe. It's also worth mentioning that there's daily content on the second channel. That's right, mon deuxième chaîne, as they say in the motherland. Daily content on there, non-Chelsea stuff, but it's me reacting to all the big stories. Just YouTube search Football Yannick or click the link in the top of the description. Keep it locked, guys, because I'll keep you posted. Take care of yourselves. Peace.